Hey folks, welcome to another video. Thank you for tuning in. So today I'm going to look at the next part of the scenario and the arena. Now, last time I left you, there would have been on the left hand side what appears to be two swords crossed over each other with a question mark. I've unfortunately already clicked on that in between takes, but when you click on that, it will activate this. This will appear on your island, and that is the arena. So this is one of the biggest PvP environments, so player versus player environments. Now technically, yes, you're playing against another player's team, but that team is being controlled by AI. Anyway, so click on that, and when you click on it, you'll get two options: World Arena or Arena. As a new player, World Arena will be completely out of my league. I do not want to touch that. But Arena has a lovely little red 1 on it, and that's to tell me that there is one of my rivals. Now these rivals are characters made up by the game that will regularly be able to fight, and the difference between them and facing other players is that I'll get the 3 guild points, but I also get crystals, and they have differing times when they reset. So as soon as you finish the first section of the scenario, I recommend you click on those 2 swords and activate this section. Click on that. So I'm going to go in there and face the person now. Get over and done with. I'm going to take the dog with me. I'll take both dogs with me. Now I think I should be able to auto this, but I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to quickly fight them. Again, none of these guys have any runes. So as you can see, they really don't need runes. It's a bit of a waste. And there's 2 of them gone. Oh, one of mine's gone. That's fine. There we go. And done. So that's your first experience of the arena will be that. Now the reason I'm suggesting you do this now and not later is because as soon as you finish that first opponent, and these guys will go through a lovely dialogue to say how wonderful I am, I'll get a reward. And the reward, after I fix my defense. Now, actually, before I get the reward, it's probably a good idea. Your defense, make it an easy defense. 1 creature. That's all you want. And I'll explain why. Because you, at this point of the game, do not want to be competitive. You want to farm guild points. And I'll point out why you want to farm guild points. But before I do, let me just get my reward. So if I go into the chest, and can you see Duran has sent me a gift. And if I click on that gift, I will now have flying around on here this dude. Now this dude is a light creature as well, and to be honest, I actually quite like him. So his awakened name is Tion, and what makes him quite useful is he's a healer. So if I go into his skills and give you a quick look, Light of Recovery revives a dead ally and recovers the HP of all allies by 20%. If there are no allies revived by the skill, the cooldown decreases by 2 turns. So i.e. you can actually use this as a healing skill. And I've actually built this guy in 2 of my accounts. So I actually think he's a worthwhile creature holding on to. So good early healer. I actually prefer him over the water fairy. So I've deliberately unlocked him because I want to get my hands on him. Now what you probably also noticed when I went back here is I had Come to Us has sent you an event gift, and it's the vampire. That's not normal. Vampire Lord, that's not normal. I've reset this account that many times during this event that I have worked up enough points to actually obtain him, so I might as well just collect him now. Wunderbar. So he's an unusual creature that you won't get normally, so I've grabbed him now. He'll help me actually progress, but still I'll talk it through in regards to your progression as a standard player, because chances are by the time you view this photo, these videos laid down the track, he won't be available. So let's just go into the next scenario. Mount Sis. Okay. I'm going to click on him. And bring you and you. And there we go. So I'm going to let it auto again, like I did last time, because I shouldn't need to, especially with that Vampire Lord. So he's unusual. Normally you wouldn't have him, so I'm probably being a little bit cheaty by having him in this team, but it will help my progression to go through the stages faster and get the information to you. But having said that, even if you didn't have him, you should be able to auto this stage with the Water Fairy, the light T on there on the left, and the light Elven Ranger without runes. So you should be fine. But I'm just going to use him for the time being because it's just going to speed up my progression a little bit faster with this video, so I don't want to make them too long. Now the scenario that we're doing is Mount Sis, and the rewards for Mount Sis is runes again, as well as experience. Like I explained, we do scenarios for the experience, we do it for basic runes, not fantastic runes. Again, just a quick reminder, there are 7 stages to each section of the scenario, and stages 1 will give you 1 slot runes, 2, which we've just done then, will give me 2 slot runes. So as you see, I've got a 2 slot rune, and you can tell it's 2 because not just because it's pointing to that particular direction, but also because there's a 2 in brackets behind the name of the rune. And the runes that we get dropped in this section of the scenario are fatal runes. Now what does fatal mean? Fatal is a set of 4 runes, and if a creature has 4 fatal runes, doesn't matter which of the 6 spaces is filled up, as long as there are 4, the creature will get 35% increase in their attack stat. So obviously fatal is an ideal set to use on attack style monsters. So at the moment I think the only one that's an attack style is actually the Vampire Lord of this crew, but the Elven Ranger I believe is an attack. The Light Elven Ranger, I believe is an attack mon. So, you know, that's the advantage of Fatal, is just to increase an attack mon's stats. So, I think some of the monsters that you'll come across, which will be you find benefit in that, is Lucian is a classic example. Now Lucian is a well sought after monster, and who knows, maybe we'll summon him in this account and I can talk to him a little bit further. So the Wind Joker, attack style mon. So there are plenty mons out there where Fatal is a beautiful set to use, and I often say to people, when you're in early game, Fatal is definitely a good set to have. Even in later game it still can be good. In later game there are certain ones that you'll change Fatal over to Rage, and I'll talk about Rage a little bit later. But in the early game, Fatal is just as solid a set to be using. So I've almost finished this section of the scenario. Keep going. Almost done. Vampire Lord is definitely helping me move a little bit faster through these. These times are probably about half the time it'll take for another person. Again, even though you won't have the Vampire Lord, I will repeat, do not use your reps at this point of scenario. You don't need them. Even with unruined monsters, you will not need to have them used. Okay? Almost done. So this is stage 6? I think this is stage 6. So the slot I'll get for this one is a slot 6. And then the 7th stage of each scenario is the boss stage, and that will drop you, if it's going to drop you a rune, it can be a random rune of any of the 6 slots. Okay? Alright, so let's just get that over and done with. talk about the reward that we get at the end. See, another bonus that you guys as new players get that wasn't around in my time is these rewards that you get at each of the different scenario sections you complete. They weren't around in my time. I think the only reward really was in Fayman, which is the light dark scroll, but we'll come to that later. Let's see how quickly I can take this out with the Vampire Lord. Pretty quick. Alright, so that's this scenario done. And my reward is the Magic Knight. The Water Magic Knight. Yes, you guys will talk at me for a bit. Thank you. Marvellous. Yep, okay. Yep, fantastic. Okay. Let's go collect the Magic Knight. And let's talk about them. Okay. There's the Magic Knight. Is the Magic Knight worth building? My honest opinion is yes, actually she is. She's actually a very decent monster for you to be given at this point of the game. In fact, chances are this monster will be your farmer. And we'll talk about farmers a little bit later down the series, not for the purpose of today, but chances are this lady is going to be your farmer. And she's a very useful mon. She's had a few buffs in her time, which makes her quite an incredibly useful monster. So early game, there will be a point where you will receive some runes that are very particular for a farmer. I won't talk about them today in detail, but basically that's the build you'll have her on initially, and then as the later game progresses you'll change it to more like what my main account has her. So my main account actually built her, so she's 6-starred in my main, and the runes are very different to what you will put her on in the early game. At this point you won't need to rune her just yet, but I would recommend keeping her, and I would recommend holding on to her and using her until either you do 6-star her, or you do get some other mons that you look at and think actually they'll do it better than her. But she still actually is a very useful monster, so don't sell this one short by any stretch of the imagination. So that's the reward that you get there. Now I'm going to change my arena defense from that to that. Might as well show off as a low account that I've got my Vampire Lord. Now the reason I wanted you guys to be able to farm guild points in the early game is in the glory shop, which is where you will spend your arena points, and as you can see I've only scored 3 at this point in time. You want to make sure you purchase one of these every week. So that's your focus, hence the reason you want to farm points, because you're not going to be competitive enough to go up the ladder, and if you try to, you're going to struggle to farm the guild points eventually. So you want people to knock you down so that you can keep farming points. So you want to get 180 arena points every week, so you can purchase one Devilmon every week, and then use them on Nat 5s. Don't use them on Nat 4s, do not use them on Nat 3s, do not use them on Nat 2s or 1s. Hold on to them until you get your Nat 5. Yeah. The reason being, so these guys are used to level up a skill. So you use them and they will increase a random skill of your monster. So to give a bit of an explanation, so we'll use the Vampire Lord here. If I look at his skills, if you look at his first skill, Vampire Bat, it talks to me about it, but then you can see that it looks like there are 4 lines faded. Level 2 damage 5%, level 3 damage 5%, level 4 damage 5%, level 5 damage 15%. What that means is if I increase those skills, so they will darken, which means they're more readable, and that is applied to the skill. So if I level up his first skill once, it will be the down of damage he's already dealing plus 5% of that damage increases it. So it increases its overall damage. Other skills like this one won't just increase damage but also increase effect rate and cool time, which means it lessens how long it takes. So at the moment it takes 4 turns, but once he's fully skilled up on the second skill, it will take 3 turns. And this one, at the moment 6 turns, but if he's fully leveled up, 4 turns. So Devilmon should be going into things with 5 stars, like this Vampire Lord, although the Vampire Lord is a bit of an unusual case. I won't talk about that because I don't want to confuse them out. Now, Nat 4s and Nat 3s, the reason I wouldn't recommend you spending Devilmons unless you desperately need to skill up on those Nat 4s is because you can feed the same monster to skill them up. So I'm going to actually use my lights, Garuda, I can't pronounce his name, and I'm going to show you by feeding him one what happens. So they're the same creature I've just fed him, and so he'll go up a few levels from experience, but then Onslaught has just increased by 1 level. So Devilmons are useful for the Nat 5s because it's very rare to get Nat 5, so you're not going to feed a Nat 5 to another Nat 5 unless you're a pay-to-win player and you've got plenty of Nat 5s under your belt. But so what you want to do is hold those Devilmons out until you get a Nat 5. You will get a Nat 5, it may take some time, but it will happen. Alright guys, I'm going to leave it there because I think that's plenty of video content for new players to absorb. So thank you for tuning in. I hope it's useful. I'll see you in the next video.